Have you ever decided to do something really big? Like learn how to play guitar? Or, make friends with the new kid down the street? Maybe you even want to bake a master chef-worthy cake for your mom's birthday. You're super excited to get started, but then you sit down with the guitar and... oh, no. Or you spend all morning working up the nerve to go knock on the new kid's door, and it turns out he's gone for a week of summer camp. Then you find the recipe for that amazing cake, and it's crazy. Doing big things takes work. It takes making a plan and then sticking with it. There are calluses along the way, patience and courage in building a friendship, and definitely some mess. But when you follow through, you find the music, you grow a friendship, you create amazing edible art. And through it all, others can see how God has given you the strength to stick with it. That's why commitment is an amazing way to worship God with your life, because worship is about more than just singing loud. It's all about living loud.
Plans for me are good. You hold my future. You're working all the time. You're the mountain mover. From sunrise to sunset, till the sun comes back up again. You're by my side. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through. In everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful. I'll trust your every word, 'cause I believe that you're working for my good. Yes, you're committed. From sunrise to sunset, till the sun comes back up again, you're by my side. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through, yeah. I know that you're still working on me. And everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful. You are my hope, you are my future. You are the mountain mover. You are faithful. You are my hope, you are my future. You are the mountain mover. You are faithful. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through, yeah. I know that you're still working on me. In everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful.
Hey everybody! I'm Erica, and I'm training for a 5K race. As you can see, I've been training all day, so as my grandma would say, I'm a little glowy. If you've ever run a 5K, you know it takes a lot more than popping off a couch and putting your running shoes on, okay? It takes commitment. Commitment is making a plan and putting it into practice. And my plan is not just running around a lot. I mean, I've got to train in what I'm calling the 3 S's. Speed, strength, smarts. So there's running, yes, but I'm also working on my strength and Running takes a lot out of you. I just can't take it. Woo! I'm so tired. Your body's gonna want to give up. Ow. But I'm going to train my brain to keep running the race no matter what. Like right now, my body is telling me not to eat this kale because it looks gross. But my brain tells me that kale is good for giving my body energy. So, here goes. Come on, brain! Eat! I can't do it! Maybe I can find some easier ways to train my brain. In today's story, the Apostle Paul wrote about training for a different kind of race. No kale involved. What? No.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story inspired by the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 9, verses 24 through 20.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Sunday service. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Welcome to a brand new month. We are in the month of May, my birthday month. Woo! Spring has sprung. It is beautiful outside. I hope you guys have been enjoying that beautiful sunshine that's out there. And so with that being in a new month, we have a whole new theme. And our theme this month is Run the Race. We are pretending to run a 5K. Now, if you know me, Pastor Maddie is not a runner, but that is our theme this month. So we're going to pretend, or at least I am, going to pretend to be a runner. Hey. And our theme, our word for this month is commitment, which means we are making a plan and putting it into practice. So all month long, we're going to be talking about commitment. We're going to be talking about how we want to make plans and, oh, now my brain just lost it. We're making plans and putting those plans into practice. I'm going to get there, I promise. We're making plans, putting them into practice. So today, we have got an awesome kind of story, and I've got some awesome illustrations for you guys. So we're going to kick things off, and today we're going to look at a scripture in 1 Corinthians. And if you have ever run before, if you've ever played sports, a lot of times it takes a big commitment to practice, to plan, to move, to all kinds of things. And if you've ever run a 5K before, it takes a lot of hard work. I have not run a 5K because, again, I am no runner, but we're going to pretend. Now, the Apostle Paul, who is a big name in the Bible, he wrote quite a bit of the New Testament. Did you know that he actually spoke of running in the Bible? Some of you might have, some of you might not have, but Paul did actually talk about running in the Bible. So in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24, we find this. Paul says, he goes, in a race, so in a race, all runners run, but only one gets the prize. Now you know that, don't you? So run in a way that will get you the prize. Now, of course, Paul wasn't really talking about like actually, running, like just running just once, but he was actually talking about running the long race, and he's talking about our lives. Now, when we think about running, though, we're going to take a look at some fun things. So, as I make all kinds of noises and things. So, first thing first, when it comes to running, I've got 4 steps that we're going to walk through. So, the first thing we want to do, if we're going to run a 5K, if we're going to go and we're going to run and do all kinds of things, we're going to what? Make a plan. We're going to make a plan. And of course, with making a plan, we write out maybe a schedule, got to get ourselves some good shoes, got to make sure that we're well equipped. So we're planning out what we're going to do. Then, of course, after we are making our plan, we've got and that plan is like, we've got a practice plan in place, we've got our shoes, we know what we're going to do. Then after we have made our plan, what is the next thing we do? we move. So then we've got our shoes on and we're running and we're doing all kinds of things. We're getting our bodies moving. We're going, we may run really fast. Or maybe we'll just do a light, slow run just to kind of get our bodies up and moving. But either way, we want to get moving. We want to get going. So when we move, we get really hot and tired, need a towel. Whew, make sure, wipe all that sweat off. Then after we have moved and we've gotten ourselves going, the next thing we want to do is, of course, fuel. We want to make sure that we have fuel in our body. So that means we're drinking some water and maybe eating some snacks. When I used to compete, I used to eat all kinds of crazy things. Sometimes after practice, I would eat half a pizza all to myself because I just needed to get some carbs in me and because I was burning off so much stuff. So as we move, as we run, as we go crazy, our body needs a lot of fuel to keep going. So we need to make sure that we are fueling up as we continue to run. And then the last step, of course, is my ultimate favorite, is we need to rest. And when we rest, we chill, we relax. Maybe you might do some light stretching. So you'll stretch your muscles. Oh, yes, make sure they're all warmed up, stretched out. And of course, maybe sometimes it's just sitting back, relaxing, and enjoying the sunshine, enjoying just a day off where you're not running super hard. So that is a lot. There's a lot that goes into running. There's a lot that goes into doing all of these things. However, Paul was talking that we need to train for more. And he says, when we run, so our verse said, in a race, all runners run, but only one person gets that prize. So when it comes to running, and what Paul was actually talking about is he's talking about the race of life. So that was verse 24. In verse 25, chapter 9, verse 25, we find this: all who take part in the games train hard. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that lasts forever. And Paul was telling the people in Corinth that, hey, you know what? You guys want to keep running the race of life. You guys want to make sure that you guys keep going. Don't just do one run for instant gratification, but as a long haul. It's keeping your eyes on Jesus. Now, if we want to run this race well, we need to take a look at Matthew chapter 22, because this is something that's very important. When it comes to running this race of life very well, Jesus gives us a really good response, and it is in Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 to 39, and he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and most important commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. So now, as we are on this journey and we're running our race, we want to make sure that we love God and that we love others. So as we continue to run our race, we're continuing to train some of the things that we have our training plan here, but how do we run our race spiritually? What are things that we need to do? Well, plan. I'm going to move it this way. So instead of just planning, maybe spiritually what we need to do, we need to hear. We want to practice hearing God's voice. So as we make our plan, we want to make sure that we are hearing God, that we're listening to what he has to say to us. Then after we've made sure that we've heard, we want to make sure that we're taking time to pray. Yes. So now we're on the move. So we have our plan, and that is to hear God. Then we're going to move. And one of the ways we move is we're praying. And that's like you're moving. Woo! It's things that you can do. So when we think about our move plan, we're thinking about praying because it's something that we're actively doing. And then we have our fuel. So things that we need to fuel, we want to make sure that we're talking about it. So we're talking about Jesus. We're talking about the things that he is sharing with us. We don't want to just keep it to ourselves, but to help fuel us, we want to make sure that we're talking about it. We're talking about Jesus. We're talking about all those things. And then rest, this one's a little different. When we rest, we also want to make sure that we're living for Jesus. So we think about resting and being calm, cool, and collected. We want to make sure that on the opposite side, we are living. So as we live for Jesus, we want to make sure that people know who he is, and we do that with our lives. And it comes a part of our everything. So as we think about running our race, we want to make sure that we're hearing God, we are praying, we are talking, and then of course, we live for Jesus. And all month long, we are going to learn so much more all about these things. So we want to make sure that we hear from God, we're praying and talking to him, talk to him and others, and then of course, we live for him every day. So as we wrap up today, we want to make sure that we really are hearing, praying, talking, and living for Jesus. And we want to note that we want to keep practicing what matters most. And what matters most is that we live for Jesus and we keep running the race for life. I love you guys. That is all the time we have for today. Let's go ahead and see what our friends are up to.
When the Apostle Paul wrote about running a race, it was about way more than a 5K. It was about life, because sometimes life can feel like a race. That's why we've got to train. We need to make a commitment to practice what matters most. Jesus taught that what matters most is to love God and love others. How do you do that? Well, you can start with these 4 words. Hear, pray, talk, and live. Hear. Hear from God. Pray. Pray to God. Talk. Talk about God. Live. Live for God. In the race of life, you can't always rely on your own strength. You'll need God's help and wisdom to keep running. It's not always going to be easy. You may even want to give up. But it's better to keep going, because loving God and loving others is the most important thing you will ever do. Here's the one thing to remember today. Keep practicing what matters most, loving God and loving others. This may come natural to you, or it may seem totally new. Whatever the case, just commit to training a little bit every day. It'll be good for you. I guess if I commit to training, I need to do what's good for me and try a little bit of kale. Hey, that's not bad. I feel more energetic already. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm ready, and I'm a fan of kale.